All right. What's going on? Welcome to Behind the Boards. Damn, episode 11. And I got my brother Michael Meehan, my partner Rocko Leon in the building. And I got the legendary Kool Rock Ski, the Fat Boys. And I got Mr. Masta Ace in the building. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy because Masta Ace is like always been in my tops, period. And to me, Masta Ace makes some of the best albums, best music albums that like
no doubt.
that like people can say whatever they want, but he's got some of the best albums that just make you want to hear the whole album. It's not that skipping the songs joint. You know what I mean? It's like you want to hear like that Brooklyn Story. Salute on that album right there, man.
Yeah, he did his thing. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's all about meaningful lyrics. If you want to hear meaningful lyrics, you gotta listen to a lyricist. So listen to cats like Masta Ace. Yeah, you're gonna listen to cats like Masta Ace, and it's only a handful of them left out there, but you're gonna listen to cats like Masta Ace. You know what I mean?
And then I'm gonna talk about the Fat Boys' first album, man. Like, that album and Run DMC's album, them first two albums is like, wow. Like, I gotta ask one question. This is a question that's always been on my mind. Who produced that album? Was it Curtis Blow or was it
Curtis Blow? Yeah, he produced the whole album. Arranged it, produced it.
Larry Smith didn't do nothing on there?
Larry Smith played the bass line on Can You Feel It? And
one of my favorites.
Okay, thanks, man. And Davey D played the bass line on In Jail.
Okay. Yeah, that's crazy. Like that album. You guys were real young, right? You guys were 15?
Yeah, we just came off of winning the contest, the rap and dance contest at Radio City Music Hall. And the first place prize was, like you see in the movie Crush Groove, was the contract. And we put our first single out. It was one of those message kind of songs that everybody was doing because Flash Furious 5 had a lot of success with it. So we thought we'd try one. It didn't get past our block, so we had to regroup, and we got Curtis Blow. And he did his thing on the album. If you look at the album, listen to the album, or look at the tracks, it's more of an EP. It's only like 8 songs. It's not even really a full album.
But like 7-minute songs. You know what I mean?
Right? Exactly.
That album.
Very long songs.
Speaking of producer, who produced Ace, your first album? Was it Marley Marl? Or did you have other producers in there?
So Marley Marl produced, I guess like 85% of it. I co-produced all those songs with Marley because a lot of those samples were samples that I brought from home from my mother's record collection. Mr. C produced the rest of it. Mr. C produced, well, Mr. C got credit for producing 3 songs on the album, but actually there was one song of the 3 that was produced by one of my boys from Bed-Stuy, but Marley didn't want to give him credit because he wasn't a known name, so he gave the credit to Mr. C. But for the most part, it was Marley that produced it.
It's crazy. Now you're just saying that both of you guys actually got your position from winning a contest, right? Didn't you win a contest?
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mine was at USA in Queens, United States of America in Queens.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, that was the thing back then. Rap contests were popping up everywhere. I mean, in the early, mid-'80s and even the mid-'90s, there was just rap contests everywhere, rap showcases, and people getting signed that way.
Yeah.
That was just the big thing at that time, especially in New York. That was huge.
Yeah, you guys
Ace, my first experience like seeing you perform is like, I don't know if it was well, it couldn't be your first performance, but your first big performance maybe was at the insurance building in Harlem when it was like 25 acts.
Oh, the yeah, on 125th.
Yeah, that was
there's a video of that on YouTube. Like
really?
Yeah. It's embarrassing to watch all these years later. Like, I'm like, man, what was I doing, man?
Yo, it was so many acts, man. It was like, everybody performing. Like, who was it? I think it was Lord Finesse performing with Moni Love and Yo First Time and Bismarck and Third Beat, KRS. You know what I mean? It was crazy.
That was my first taste of a real New York crowd.
Yeah.
And I didn't come prepared for the fact that New York don't really give it all the way up like that. Like you gotta really you got to really knock them out the water to really get some love. And
Yeah.
so I went up there, you know, thinking it was going to be automatic. I was like, man, you got to really work for these people to make some noise. So it was a learning experience for me.
Honestly, I seen the nerves kicking in on you, but you did your thing. And to be the illest performer that you are now, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
that's another thing. Ace performs his ass off for real, man. That's for real. That's another. That's why you that top, because you all around everything. You know what I mean? Like I think to me, you when you was in the Juice Crew, now you're like the Juice Crew here with me and shit. You know what I mean? You done.
I don't care about. I don't even focus on levels. It's just about finding your lane and trying to do your best in your lane.
Yeah.
That's everybody's got their own lane.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but
Definitely.
that you're successful with it to me. You know what I mean? Like when you never like did no radio stuff, and you just was always who you are. If it hit the radio, got on the radio. You did the radio, got on the radio. You know what I mean?
I wanna tell Kool Rock Ski a story real quick, because
right.
he mentioned when he thinks he first met me up at Mr. Magic show at BLS. I don't remember that, but I do remember getting on the train and going out to Long Island City, Queens, to Silver Cup Studios to be an extra in Crush Group.
Oh,
And
shit.
That's funny.
I was actually there for the scene when you guys lost the contest and you had to act sad and everything.
Right.
So where you guys were standing, there was like a metal gate behind you, and there was people behind that gate. I was one of those people behind that gate.
Wow.
Don't ask me, I wasn't known yet. Nobody knew me from nothing. I heard about it, and I went there to be an extra, and I got to see you guys. That's the closest I ever got to you guys at that point.
That's dope. That's a dope story. Yeah. We shot the scenes from the Fever at Silver Cup Studios. I don't know why we were shooting at the Silver Cup as opposed to shooting at the actual Fever, because we did shoot some scenes in the actual Fever, but that day we shot at Silver Cup. I'll give you a quick story about how I met you, though, because we were up at Mr. Magic doing an interview. And what happened was Mr. Magic called you and Craig G in. You know how Mr. Magic tell people to kick a freestyle?
Yeah.
He called you two guys in. And me and Mark looked at one another like it was some kind of like, he's trying to set us up with some kind of battle or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. He just called you guys in just to kick some freestyles with us or whatever. But I wish I had it on tape. And that's when, my first time meeting you and Craig G. So
I would love to hear that. I would love to know what round.
Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Wow.
You know what? You know who played a really bad joke on me was Big Daddy. Was Biz Markie. I was at we had a party for our the success of Crushing going platinum or whatever at the Hard Rock Cafe in Manhattan. So Biz Markie introduced a guy, and he said that was Big Daddy Kane, because I never seen Big Daddy Kane up until then.
Okay.
So he said, "Yo, Kool Rock, this is Big Daddy Kane." So I took him for his word. So when I met Big Daddy Kane at the Palladium one night, somebody said, "Yo, Kane, Kool Rock, this is Kane." I said, "That ain't no damn Kane." And Kane looked at me like I was crazy, like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So that night, he had this weird look and this kind of mad look on his face all night looking at me, because I kind of shunned him off like, that ain't Big Daddy Kane, why you lying?
Right.
Then I went back to Bismarck maybe 2 or 3 years later. He came to my house. I said, "Yo, why the hell you told me that dude was Big Daddy Kane?" And had Kane mad at me like that. He was like, "Yo, I got you, right?" Because like I said, I didn't see Kane up until then. Until I seen the video, I was like, that is that dude. That's the guy, Big Daddy Kane.
So Biz carried that joke all of me like 2-3 years without telling you the real deal.
No, I found out because I've seen the Ain't No Half Stepping joint. And I said, that's the guy from the Palladium. This jackass lied to me and said that other guy was Big Daddy Kane. I don't know why he did that to this day. I'm like, dude, why did you do something like that?
That sound like Biz though.
Yeah, that's something crazy he would do.
Speaking of Biz, when you did me in the Biz video, why wasn't he actually in the video? You purposely didn't want him to be in the video, or?
Well, he's not on the song, so.
I mean, I know you was doing the voice, but I mean, just that you gave him like a dap in the video or something. You know what I mean? I would have been like, oh shit. I was like wondering that.
I mean, Biz was a big star at that point. Like, I'm sure we asked him to come through, but like I said, he's a big star at that point, and I'm a brand new guy, just trying to get my feet wet in the game, and I don't know him that well. It wasn't like we had like this like tight relationship at that point. He didn't know me really like that yet. I first met Biz the day we shot the photo for Marley Marley Control.
Wow.
That picture with all of us in front of the jet.
Yeah.
That was my first. That was the first day I met Kane and Biz.
Oh shit, that's crazy.
So we didn't really have that crazy relationship where come through. All right, I got you. Like it wasn't like that yet.
Yeah, I know how New York was too. You couldn't just do that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy.
From that photo shoot, it went to the symphony sessions.
Well, it was only one session.
Okay.
Was
it that day of the photo shoot?
Yeah, it was that same day. We left that photo shoot and went to Marley's apartment in Astoria. Well, they were going there to record one more song. It was supposed to be a duet with Kool Rap and Kane. And then I guess Marley asked them, were they cool if Shan got on the song? And they were like, all right, cool. Because Shan was really the big name.
Right.
He was bigger than everybody at that moment.
Yeah.
So Marley was like, let's put Shan on the record. And I guess G-Rap and Kane was like, all right, cool. But turns out Shan decided not to even come to the session. He had his own reasons for that.
Right.
So Marley was like, yo, can Craig get on it? They talked it over. They were like, all right, cool. Craig could be on it. So that was the plan. They were going to go to his crib and do this song with the three of them. I was driving and Marley was driving. So I was Craig's ride to get there. And I really just wanted to tag along because my first day meeting Kane, I was definitely a fan of his lyrics. I was real curious to see what he was going to say, like what was going to be the new rhyme he was going to spit. So I was just there being curious. And I sat there while they wrote their rhymes, the beat playing over and over. And then when it came time for somebody to go in the booth, everybody was passing the buck. Nah, you go. Nobody wanted to get in there and go and rhyme first. So Marley's like, yo, Ace, you got something? You got a little something you could spit? Get these guys loosened up. I was like, yeah, I got something. I always got rhymes, ready to go. So I go in the booth and start rhyming, and G-Rap and Kane actually left. I found out years later that they went to the store to talk about why Marley just put this new dude on the song without asking us. Like they was like kind of tight about that. So when they came back, my verse was done. Craig was working on his verse, and then they heard my verse, and according to Kane, he like kind of nudged G-Rap like, "Yo, Glass is kind of alright. Glass is kind of alright." Cause I had the big glasses on. He's like, "Yo, Glass is alright." And that's how I wound up on the song. I don't think it was a planned thing. It just worked out that way.
Right. Shan tells that story like every chance he gets. It's like, I've heard that story is circulated all around YouTube everywhere and all over the internet. But yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy how you're lined up. Things are meant for people. That's why you are where you are. Things, everything is meant for somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Because the night that I went to USA and won the contest, my boy called me. He's like, "Yo, I'm going to USA, jump in this contest. You want to roll?" I was like, "Nah." I was home for college on Christmas break. My mom's there, my grandmother, my uncles. I ain't feel right like leaving the house to go hang out when it's Christmas.
Right.
And so I was like, I can't go. Hung up. My mom's overheard the conversation. She's like, "Yo, why don't you go? We already ate. Like everybody just watching TV. Why don't you go ahead and go?"
Wow.
I call him back. His sister like, "Yo, he left. He left?
Yeah.
Can you see if you can catch him?" She's like, all right, hold on. She put the phone down. I hear her go outside, run down the street, calling his name.
Wow.
She catches him. He comes back, tells me where to meet him at on the train, and then boom, everything else happens where it happens.
That's how it happens, man. It's crazy, the story that you're telling about going up to the contest. When we went to enter the contest, somebody gave us a number. We didn't go there for the contest. We went up there with a group called the Bad Boys. If you're familiar with this song. Yeah, Bad Boys from East New York.
Gadget. Yeah.
Exactly. And we went up there with them. They joined the contest. And when we got up there, we was going up there to check them out because they said if they win the first place prize, they was gonna put us on a single, on a record or whatever. So we were like all gassed up and going. Our first time ever in the Bronx, living in Brooklyn all my life in New York, never been to the Bronx at that point. And we get up there, and the guy just puts a number around Buff's neck and said, "Yo, you're next." And we're like, "Next for what? We didn't sign anything." He said, "You next. Just go up there and do what you got to do." Right. Because the contest was wearing, it was winding down, and everybody was like, leaving one by one. So we're like, all right, so let's just do a freestyle. So before we got to the stage, one of the guys from the Bad Boys said, "Yo, where y'all going?" I said, "Yo," they said, "We're next." They said, "No, y'all ain't going up there. Y'all didn't enter the contest." I'm like, according to him, we did. So we got up there, and rest is history. Curtis Blow was one of the judges that night. Mike C from the Phillies for one of the judges. I think Sal Abatello that owned the Disco Fever, he was one of the judges, and we won the semifinals. Just
now
going up there.
Were you guys the Disco 3 at that point?
Yeah, Disco 3.
Okay, so it was really, so Buff just did beatboxing, y'all just rhymed over that?
We just kicked the freestyle because we didn't practice for it. We just went up there with them. We was going to check them out.
Was it acapella or was it like over the beat?
It was acapella. It was acapella. Okay. And when they heard the acapella and they heard the sound, they heard Buff's bass and how powerful it was.
Right.
It's like everybody just, people came from behind the bar. Everybody was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like, but they never heard anything like that until that point. So, they just went crazy. And Charles Stetler, who became our manager later on, he put it together. He told us pretty much like, "You guys are winning the finals." Like in so many words, he was like, "You guys are going to win the finals." So we were like, "Okay," we just want the DJ equipment anyway. So so that was the second place prize, was DJ equipment.
Yeah, you
so
got that press crew. Yeah, you're showing you guys playing. Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted
that. Was a real story. That was kind of a real story. All right, yeah, that's.
Oh yeah. We're young. We're like 13, 14 years old. I was the oldest. I was 14 at the time. Buff was going on 14. Mark was 13. So we pretty much was like, we didn't know about no damn record contract. We just wanted some DJ equipment so we could rock out at parties. That was our thing. So.
Yeah. Well, at USA, the second prize was $500, which I really had my eye on that $500.
Exactly.
First prize was 6 hours of studio time. I was like, "Yo, I want that 500." I was
right,
in college.
exactly.
I use that money.
That's crazy. You guys was both going for second prize. That shit's crazy. You guys both got first. That's crazy.
Because we were naive to the business, didn't know what a record contract could do for us. So it's more like, the hell with a record contract. Just give me a way to make the money. You know what I'm saying? So
I got a question. Not trying to be controversial or nothing, but Buff was maybe the first or second human beatbox that I had ever heard. I know there was people doing it in the neighborhood, but I'm saying like on a record. Is there anybody in your mind that came before Buff?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I can't think of one. I mean, it had Wise. He was down with Steps Sonic.
Right.
But we didn't meet Wise until we won the contest. Like Mark had went to the same school with Wise. Me and Buff went to Thomas Jefferson. Mark went to Canarsie. And he would tell us about Wise, but we didn't know what the hell he was talking about. He's like, "Yo, there's a guy that does the beatbox, but he's kind of half-assed with it." No disrespect to Wise. That's what Mark was saying at that time.
Right.
And somebody told us about Dougie Fresh. We didn't know who Dougie Fresh was. Somebody came and said, "Yo, there's a guy in Harlem that does what you do, but his name is Dougie Fresh. Y'all ever heard of him?" And we looked at one another like we never heard of Dougie Fresh. Because we're from Brooklyn, he's from Harlem, so we didn't travel like that.
Yeah, so, I don't think I heard Doug till at least a couple of years after Fat Boys came out. And some people credit him with being the first human beatbox, and that's one of those debates that I would have to like really get involved. Like, I don't know about that one. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I tell anybody and everybody we never heard of Doug, and Doug, Chill Will said he never heard of us. I was talking to Chill Will like maybe some years ago. He said, "Yo, we never even heard of y'all." And I'm like, "Well, the same thing with us. We never heard of y'all." So when y'all came out, we was like, "Yo, they kind of biting Doug." I'm like, "Well, y'all came out, we was like, y'all biting Buff." So it was
right.
Yeah.
That was kind of going to be my question. Like, was it an honor for like Bismarck and Dougie Fresh doing it, they thing? Was it, you know what I mean, that they incorporated it while y'all was doing it? So, you know what I mean? I don't know if it was like any tension with that, or was it like an honor that they was incorporating that in the style, doing what y'all was doing?
Bismarck didn't have, he never, Bismarck was more of a rapper slash entertainer. You know, he wasn't really diving into it the way Buff and Dougie Fresh was.
Okay.
Bismarck was more, you know,
the deep voice. So his was deeper than theirs. You know what I'm saying? He had that bass,
right
bass in all of them. Yeah.
And I think with Doug, he had a problem with Buff, but it was a friendly rivalry.
Right.
They got into it one night. Well, we all got into it one night at the Disco Fever, and we were on our way on the tour, and Sal Abatello wanted us to come there one last time perform before we go out on tour. So us, Run DMC, Houdini was there, LL, and everybody's about to break out, you know, big or whatever. And Doug had approached Mark and said, I heard one of you MFs call me Dougie Stale. So Mark said, what are you talking about? He said, yo, y'all said I was Dougie Stale in an interview? And he was like, yo, I would bust all y'all mother. I mean, it turned into almost a fight or whatever.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
And yeah, so we almost got all kicked out of the Disco Fever because they wanted us to be more professionals or whatever. But I talked to Doug about it years later, and he was like, the thing was, he was such a fan of ours, and he wanted to be where we was, that he thought if he can get us on stage and battle, people would take more notice to him. It's kind of like what cats do now when they make a diss record for the hell of it, you know.
What year did the Fat Boys first? It came out 84, right?
Album came out 84, yeah.
Did it come out after Beat Street?
Out.
Did it come out after? Because remember Dougie was beatboxing in Beat Street and shit, and with Kumo.
It came out after Beat Street. Yeah, it came out after Beat Street. Yeah. And we got turned down for Beat Street. We auditioned for Beat Street, got turned down. Oh, okay. And they gave us Rapping. Remember the movie Rapping?
Yeah.
They offered us that, and we seen the script. We was like, oh hell no, we're not doing this. So that's when Crush Groove came along. But yeah, Beat Street we got turned down for. I ran into Harry Belafonte in London, and I told him the whole story. And he said he was sorry. I'm like, it's not even your fault. I'm like, we just auditioned. You know, you had nothing to do with the casting process, you know. But
I mean, beatboxing was really, there was so many people in the street doing it, not on records necessarily, but you mentioned the Bad Boys, and they had K Love, the girl.
K Love, yeah.
That was the first female beatbox that I ever heard, and she was on record. Right. I don't know when did Spectre Gadget come out before y'all record? No, I don't think so. Y'all came.
No, it came out maybe 4 months after our song, because I remember it was blasted in the parks like everywhere we went, and they were like, "Yo, y'all got competition," and we're like, "Yo, we cool with them. They live right down the block from us, you know."
Right.
So, you know,
that's crazy. This is real crazy.
Kool Rock. I remember one time y'all had a show at Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut. I didn't go. I was probably like 13 at the time.
Right.
So I think I don't know if it was Run DMC, y'all. I remember Kool in the Gang. But I just remember like walking and the show was over and everybody who went was just walking by and it was like, yo, Fat Boys killed it. Fat Boys killed it.
Right.
But how did it feel like performing like with artists like Kool in the Gang, which you don't see nowadays? You don't see like bands performing with hip hop artists and stuff like that anymore. So
well, that started becoming normal because rap was getting so big. So a lot of the big R&B groups was like asking the rap artists like Run DMC and us and Houdini, whoever was out, to be on their tours or to open up for them. So it was kind of like they were trying to gain a younger audience because rap was a young thing back then. So everybody who was getting into it, everybody who was rocking with it was young. So a lot of the R&B artists was like well into their 30s or maybe even 40s at that time. And this whole new era of music was coming in, you know, genre of music was coming in, and they needed to get down with it. What's crazy is a lot of the R&B groups were opening up for us, opening up for Houdini, opening up for Run DMC after a while. And that was crazy. Where before you wouldn't have even saw that. I mean, Flash and the Furious 5 was opening up for Rick James. And I even heard they opened up for Rolling Stones at one point. But as rap became bigger and bigger, even Madonna asked us to be on tour with her. But our manager turned it down because he was like, that's not even our kind of crowd. So he turned that tour down. But yeah, it was a thing back then for rappers to be with R&B groups. I think Curtis Blow was the first one to make a song with the R. He did a song with Renee and Angela. Or it could have been Melly Mel with Chaka Khan, I Feel For You. But so it was a thing back then.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how people don't think stuff like that should even be paired together now. But I was like, they used to do it like that back in the day.
Oh yeah.
So why can't it happen now?
How'd you feel when the Skinny Boys came out and they kind of did the same thing? I'm from Connecticut. So that's why only like one of the groups we ever had. But you know what I'm saying? But
I was kind of shocked that the dude was the size he was and how powerful he was with his beatboxing.
Yeah.
But they reminded me so much of more of a Run DMC than us. I think the name people compared them to us, but I think it was more of a Run DMC kind of thing. But they were pretty good. They had powerful voices. Back then everything was screaming. LL was screaming. Run DMC was screaming. We were screaming. Houdini was more laid back. With the R&B mixed with hip hop kind of stuff. But at that they was going right along with the times. They were doing all the screaming and stuff, and NWA even they were screaming when they first came out. So the screaming rap was the thing back then.
It's crazy you say it. For some reason, Ecstasy kind of reminds me of Kumo D for some ways he raps. It reminds me, they remind me, their voice and the way they say it. This goes down.
Right.
You know what I mean? The way they put
it. Yeah. I can see that.
I always thought that, like, you know what I mean? Like, but Ecstasy's dope too. You know what I mean? Like,
oh man, he's one of the greatest deliverers on wax, man. He's just. I told him that so many times. I'm like, your delivery, Salt's delivery from Salt and Pepper. You got so many people. LL's delivery. So many people got that delivery on record that you just can't. When you hear it, it just captivates you.
Yeah. Ace, you and Marco Polo's working on another album together?
Yeah, I got the beats. He gave me a bunch of beats that I picked and and I haven't really. I wrote one verse so far. It's for me, like the creative process, is exactly that. It's a process. And so, I don't write unless I'm inspired to write. Unless I feel something. So he sent me, I've been sitting on about 10 or 12 of his beats for several months, probably 6 months or so. And he just sent me something new the other day, and I immediately heard it and immediately wrote a verse to it. So that's the first joint. We're going to, little by little, I'll start working on it. I've been focused on this musical, so a lot of my writing time.
Yeah, that's right. You remember you talking. The crazy thing on King, you mentioned the Fat Boys in the song and shit too. That's crazy. That's dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, oh, okay. Get a little shout out from Masta Ace.
That song's very fucking powerful, They can't, that album. I just can't. I'm telling you, it's like one of the best albums I heard in a long time. And I'm not even making that shit up. Like,
hey, let me ask you something, Ace.
Yeah.
When y'all did the Crooklyn Dodgers joint, y'all ever thought about you, Special Ed and Buckshot ever thought about doing an album together?
That was on the table. Spike Lee offered us a deal to do an album.
Wow.
And I was with it. Ed was with it. At the time, Buckshot Duck Down had just signed a deal with Priority for distribution, so they just got a big check.
Okay.
And, they just felt like the timing wasn't right for them. And so, like me, I called Buck, Ed called Buck. We tried to, get him to, this is a good opportunity for us. But he had other things going on, and he just, time-wise, he's like, nah. And so that's really why the Crooklyn Dodgers, the Crooklyn 2 was a different lineup.
Because the Buck.
Because originally they were going to just have us three do Crooklyn 2 as well.
Right.
But Buck was doing other things, and me and Ed were down, and we were like, well, let's just get another person. It's like, nah, we don't want to just replace Buck. We'll just get a whole new lineup, and that's what they did.
Wow.
Damn.
I mean, they're both classic, But that first one is just that's just monumental. I mean the flows and it was just sick, you know. The verses was just you had that chemistry. It's like, you know, like you grew up together kind of shit. So it was like, it was just so dope.
The wild thing is, people don't know this, but there was a different version of Crooklyn that we recorded first. Because we didn't get any direction. They were like, here's the beat, you know, write some rhymes. So, you know, we MCs, we trying to outdo each other. We rhyming about how dope we are and the illest and like, you know, braggadocio rhymes.
Right.
And then Spike heard it and he was like, you know, this is cool, but it doesn't really represent the movie. He's like, the movie takes place in the 70s. Why don't you guys come to a private screening? And this is like months before the movie hit the theaters. He had a private screening with like maybe 20 people, including us. And he showed us the movie. And then he's like, now go back and write based on what you just saw. So now he's like, oh, it's a 70s theme now. So now we all went back and wrote all new rhymes. That's the song everybody heard. Hey, here's
what's happening to Rerun and Roger, and it made sense because it was that shit was crazy. I play damn near every time I work out. I'm still in there, got the headphones on playing that joint, you know.
That's dope. Thank you.
Doing it up Brooklyn style.
Is there gonna be another EMC album?
We would like to, yeah. We talk about it often. We just got to get all the stars aligned, you know, because I'm working on this project with Marco, and I just dropped one, working on another one. So my schedule got to work with everybody else's too. So, but yeah, that would be ideal for us to do another one. We all would like to.
Masta Ace.
Dope.
Masta Ace. It's always something. Wanted this. Okay, for your the Slaughterhouse album.
Yeah.
The Big East song. DJ Busy G from Hartford, Connecticut produced that joint.
That's a fact.
That's my man.
He used to, we used to sit in the car and used to play joints for us, and it was that beat all the time. We like, yo, this our beat. We
Word.
We want this one. And when we heard that shit on your album, we was like, oh,
wow.
Yo, that was in it, out of his batch of beats, that was the one.
Yeah.
So you got a good ear.
I appreciate it. Did y'all actually record a song to it or have like rhymes for it?
No, we didn't.
Okay. I don't feel so bad then.
Right.
You got the original Crooklyn song you were talking about, or that's just not there no more?
Say that again?
The original Crooklyn song you guys did.
Oh, okay, so it exists, right?
Yeah.
I have probably 3 or 4 bins of cassettes in my garage that I haven't been through in years. It's on one of those cassettes.
You got a bunch of gems out there that you could just do some Masta Ace lost tapes and shit.
Right, exactly.
Real fucking lost tapes, right? For real. Like.
I cleaned my garage out the other day. So many cassettes. I was like, I can't deal with this. Like I don't want to throw them away, but
nah, you just send them to me. I'll take them. Oh wait, man, that's just messing with you. I'm saying, don't never throw them away. That's part of your history, man.
Yeah, you got to keep that. I wish I would have kept a lot of our stuff, man. You know, hindsight is 20/20. You don't think about that shit when you get older.
Yeah,
right.
But and you writing a book too, right? Am I correct? You writing a book, Ace?
No, I'm not writing a book right now. I mean, that's something that I would like to do down the road, but I'm not working on that. I'm working on this musical, and the script and the songs, and it's a process. We getting through it, little by little. I got the script to the point where we actually had a table read with some actors came in just so we could hear what it sounded like. And now after that table read, which was in I think March, ever since then I just been working on just the music, just the songs, and it's a different process than doing an album because the lyrics and the songs have to move the storyline along. So it has to kind of connect to the script and the characters, and so it's a different process, but it's coming along very well.
Oh, that's dope.
Any documentaries? Any Masta Ace biography.
I seen that Disposable Arts documentary. I saw that. That was dope.
Yeah, Disposable one. We were working on a Long Hot Summer one a couple years ago, actually in 2014? We had started working on one in 2014, 2015. But then the production company that we were working with, they kind of pulled some funny business and tried to hold the footage up, because we shot, interviews, footage. I went back to the stoop where the album cover was shot in Harlem, and did an interview on the stoop. Interviewed a whole bunch of different people that were featured on the album, and then this guy, this shady dude who I didn't hire him, somebody else hired him. The label I was working with hired him, and we shot like 3 videos for songs off the album, and then they decided to hold the footage hostage. They were like, we want 25 grand to give you the footage, which wasn't the deal, you know what I mean? And so it got ugly. I was about to go into Brooklyn street mode again, calling.
Yeah, right.
I was like, you know what, this ain't even my deal, really. Like, I didn't hire them, so it's really between the label and them. And maybe I should I just kind of stepped back from it, because it was going to get ugly, and I didn't need. I'm too old for running around chasing dudes and beating people up and all that. Them days is past.
Man.
So
yeah,
I don't know if that footage may show up one day. Maybe they'll come to their senses and hand it over, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first had met you, I don't know if you remember this. Remember this, Ace?
What was the let me see
Domingo. Remember Domingo was at that spot? That was the one that burnt down the studio.
Oh yeah, that's 7888. It didn't burn down.
That's when you were working on Disposable Arts, right?
Yeah, it didn't burn down though.
Somebody was saying that. Somebody was saying that when you went to the game release party, the Game Over 2 release party and shit.
That's the same night?
No, that was a different night, because you were wearing different. You know what I'm saying? You was wearing different.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Yeah, that was crazy. That's like, he said Ace is coming. I'm like, Ace? I'm like, oh shit. I was starstruck as a motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie, like, oh shit, Ace. Like, yo.
That studio got a lot of history. A lot of well-known people have recorded there, from Salt and Pepper, Kid Play, like you name it. Like quite a few people have been in that studio. ODB.
Okay, that's in Queens, right? Am I correct, or is it Brooklyn?
Yeah, it's in Queens.
Yeah. Like, well,
and Ace, you also you did a lot of songs with like international artists, right?
A lot. I've lost count, so don't ask me how many.
I will ask you, like who's your favorite to work with? You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure you gathered those connections while performing, but who did you come across that you know?
Internationally, you mean, right?
Yeah.
I did a joint with this producer named Tommy T.
yeah.
It's this joint called What Is It? And to me, like, that's like one of the dopest. That's one of the few joints that I did with an international either producer or artist that I was like, man, I would put that on my album. Like, it was one of them joints.
How long ago was that?
That was probably 2003 or 4, maybe.
Okay.
The years be going by so quick. Like,
yeah.
It don't seem that long ago, but it was like 03, 04, something like that, maybe.
Right.
Or maybe 05, 06. It's somewhere in there, man. But I'm trying to remember what Tommy's from. Norway. I think he's from Norway. I'm bugging. I think it's Norway.
Right.
I'm drawing a blank right now. I think it's Norway though.
Yeah. Talented.
Across seas is they damn near represent hip hop better than America in some
You guys
cases.
was there early. You guys was there early. That's dope, man. You guys was like there in the early '80s, huh? That's crazy. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, once they take a liking to you, they love you over there, man.
100%.
When you guys
without Europe, my career would have been over 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. They appreciate the music more. Over here, they're so spoiled because it comes out. They can get it anytime they want. And I mean, they can get it now too because of the internet, but it's just over here in America, everybody's so spoiled. When your next song coming out, you could put a song out. I remember back in the day, we would put an album out, and no later than a week, somebody would say, "When's your next album coming out?" It's sitting in
Right.
stores. It's just out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It still happens.
Yo, Kool Rock Ski, when you guys started touring around the world, you guys were young. Were you able to go overseas and all that? You had somebody go with you that was older or something? Because you guys are real young.
Just our manager at the time took us over there. We went to Switzerland. We went to Germany. We was in Switzerland for damn near a month for some odd reason. He's from Switzerland. And then we went to Germany and we did like a lot of shows. That's when we first met Houdini over there in Germany. And we were rocking like a different club every night we were over there. And you remember, rap was still really, really new. So all they really heard of was Africa Bambaataa, Flash and the Furious 5 at that point. And they heard of Run DMC a little bit with Sucker MCs. It didn't really go over too big at that point. I mean, it got bigger later on. So we had to explain what rap was by saying, hey, you ever heard of Curtis Blow? You ever heard of Flash Furious 5? Yeah, that's what we do. You know, so that's how we had to explain rap back then. But they just took a liking to it because I guess the music was so rebellious. You know, it was so, you know, pretty much in your face kind of music. So they took a liking to it pretty quick.
That was crazy just hearing that.
So how's Prince Marky D? Y'all still keep in contact?
I just talked to Mark last week because somebody hit us up and said they wanted us to put us on a 80s, that's so 80s kind of tour or whatever. And I asked him, was he interested in doing it? And the first thing he said was, how much we get a night? I was like, I don't know. I don't blame you for asking for the money, but it's like, that's the first thing. How much a night? You know?
Who would you guys put for Buffy? If you guys, would you bring like Rozelle or somebody with y'all for the beatbox, or would it just be they would play the record?
I'll give you this story. It was not a story. Doug had hit me up through a text like maybe 4 or 5 months ago. And he asked me, was I interested in doing some shows, me and Mark doing a show with him, and we can either have it Fat Boys featuring Dougie Fresh or Dougie Fresh featuring Fat Boys. Yeah. And I said, you know, we would have to sit down and talk about it. He said, you know, he's like, you know, we're gonna make a tour out of it. But you know, so we talked about it. So I don't know if it's gonna be Dougie Fresh with us, or we might just get another beatbox. But what I told Mark was that I'm not going on stage with just a track and Buff playing and Buff voice or his beatboxing is on the track. We got to find a beatbox. We got to find somebody who's really good or whatever, you know. And we can't half-ass it. You know, we can't do the walking back and forth stuff, you know, and, you know, because people are going to be happy to see us for about good 5 to 6 minutes, and that energy wears down. You got to put on a show, you know. And I look at cats like Big Daddy Kane and Houdini, and these guys, they put on a show. You know, Dougie Fresh brings it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we got to bring it if we're going to do this, you know.
Not Doug. Rozelle looked like a good fit. You know
yeah, Rozelle looked like he could do that shit.
Yeah, Rozelle hit me up a few times, and he was interested in doing some stuff with us. And I said, yeah, no doubt. There's a guy named Kenny Muhammad. He's dope with it too. So there's a few people out there that can really do it, you know.
Yeah, I do. I never got to see the Fat Boys, so you know what I'm saying. I'm never gonna, because the original beatbox ain't there. But I like to see that shit. I mean, it might not be the same energy, but still, I want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, word.
You know, the thing is that we was on tour with Run DMC and Houdini back in the day. Everybody would have their moments when they would shine in every city, and I talked to D. I seen D one night in New York at the casino. They was doing a show out there, and we talked about the night that we rocked in Detroit. And everybody has those nights. Every entertainer has those nights where they couldn't be touched on stage. Every entertainer has that night where nobody could touch them for that one particular night. And he talked about the time we was at Joe Louis Arena in Detroit, like 25,000 people. And he thought the whole balcony was just going to just drop from the rafters, because that's how hard we was rocking. And then I brought up the show that Houdini did in Baltimore, and I felt the same way, because Houdini just to this day I never seen nobody rock a show like that. And so It was just competition every night with us, Run DMC, and we were just pretty much just going at it, every night.
That's
Of course, we'll talk backstage all friendly or whatever, and then Run would get on stage and say, "This is my motherfucking house," and like, dude, we just got finished talking.
Bro, man, bro, that's what's up, but brother, yo, it's crazy, man. Hey, so I was gonna ask you a question, but when I was listening to what you said, I forgot that was an important question. I don't remember this shit. I'm trying to remember.
I missed the competition, the performance competition that used to be, in those days, because that's what got me to get my show where it needed to be. I seen enough Kane shows and enough Biz shows,
right?
And because we were label mates, and so those guys, when they had a show together, they would really try to outdo each other every night. And
yeah,
they set the bar.
Yeah,
and I said, okay, my show needs to be trying to reach to the level that they're at, and so everything that I added to my show and did in my show was based on seeing it done at a high level. And
right.
Of course, I turned it and made it my own.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
But you gotta have somebody that's killing it like that and follow, so that you know what the bar is, and then you try to rise to that occasion.
But on the topic of competition, and back in those days, and probably a little earlier before Ace came out, it was those shows where you would have Shantae, then you would have KRS, then you would have like Steady B, and then probably Shan. Like, you know what I'm saying? How the hell you had those people you had that tension, but they was all on the same bill on the same night, yo, and that was just crazy monumental to me. Like, how
their
do you
mentality was they want to kill it the most. That's your mentality back then. I'm gonna make sure we get these, and you got that dopest competition in there with you.
Right.
When you did the Juice Crew trivia, the thing I posted, Ace, just coming up with them type of ideas and shit. I remember when you got the whole crowd, just for you coming up with that's some genius shit. You know what I mean? Like,
that's based on, like I said, those type of ideas in my show, those are based on watching stuff that Kane and Biz did with their shows. Like, I didn't steal that from them. I created it from my own, but it gave watching stuff that they did, creative stuff. I'm like, man, you got to do some creative stuff, and so that's where those ideas come from.
That
was dope. Early Nick Cannon shit.
I remember at that same show, Ace was playing some Kane shit, and I forgot all about the shit. And he goes, "Live from New York, it's Saturday night," and this dude's out. I forgot all about that whole album, and the whole crowd went crazy when they came out. That was rhyming with you on that song. I was like, oh my god. That whole
but you gotta realize too, the competition was different because everybody was pretty much, they wasn't rapping about something from the street era. They was rapping about how good they were, how good they were with their rhyme skills. So that was competition in itself. When you got into the whole realms of somebody saying how many people they can kill on one song, that's where they get to a deadly kind of confrontation with people backstage, because they wanted to prove I'm more tougher than you.
Right.
We proved we was more tougher than anybody by doing a better show, or Run DMC or LL doing a better show, or whoever was hot, KRS-One doing a better show, and Shan, and KRS-One and Shan battling. They wasn't battling to try to talk about killing one another. They're just battling for MC supremacy.
Right.
Cats now don't rap about battling about rap supremacy. They battle how many family members they can kill in your family. That's a battle for them, So it's a different standard now as far as a battle on who's better.
Hey, so
I don't know who to contribute that to and who started that. I don't know if it was NWA or G-Rap. I don't even know who.
I think NWA was just rebellious. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom.
Well, I mean, you go back to the song "No Vaseline," and it goes from there. It just shoots from there. Once that came out, it's like it was no going back from that.
That was Pandora's box.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, you ever have to like battle anybody to get to your situation before you got to the contest? Like that? Anybody you ever had to battle like that's known, that not saying if you won or lost?
Well, I battled a lot of people coming up, before I was ever even known anywhere. I battled dudes in high school, and you know, cats would come up to our school and meet us outside after school. We battled in front of the school, stuff like that. But one of my most notable battles was with this cat named Raven T, who was a member of the group called the Diss Masters. You remember them, Kool Rock? The
Diss Masters, yeah, from Bed-Stuy.
Part-Time Hustler.
Right.
And so early on, I mean, like I said, I'm not known yet. I'm not on. I ain't do the contest or nothing. But I felt like I could hold my own with anybody. And I went to a party in Brooklyn on Fulton Street. And I went into this party, and he was on the mic basically calling out any MC that want to battle him. And I was like, what up? You know, I stepped up, and we went about 4 or 5 rounds back and forth. And I held my own. Now, the Diss Masters, for you younger guys, the Diss Masters, their whole mantra was every line was trying to dish you. Like, your clothes, your moms, your pop. It didn't even have to really, like, they could say you got on bummy sneakers, you might have on brand new sneakers, but it didn't matter.
Right.
So that was all their records was about dissing whoever. So they were used to, like, taking dudes out with those type of rhymes. But I had rhymes like that. So we went about 4 or 5 rounds, and every round, like, it was his people too, because he's from over there and I'm from Brownsville. So I was like the outsider coming into really the Lion's Den, battling the King Lion. And when it was over, a lot of his people was just dapping me up, like, yo, I never seen nobody hang with him like that. Oh man, yo, that was Lion. And so fast forward to 2019, I'm at an event, and I see the rapper Illa G.
Yep.
Illa G comes up to me, and he was like, yo, Ace, I remember when you battled Raven T on foot. I said, what?
Wow.
I said, yo, I was starting to think that I imagined this, like, because I never met anybody that was there. Like, he's like, yo, I was like a little kid. I was too young to even be in there. But I remember he even said, like, part of the rhyme I said. And I was like, damn, I did say something like that. So it's amazing to me, man. But yeah, that's one of many, man. One of many.
That's crazy. That's
crazy.
I almost had Illa G in this one too. It would have been crazy. You said that. That would have been crazy.
He could have confirmed it.
Yeah. He's originally from Brownsville, or he's just from Brooklyn.
I don't know if he's from Brownsville. If he is, I didn't know.
Okay, I know he was doing a lot of joints with Sean Price before he passed. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Sean Price.
Yeah.
Kool Rock Ski.
Kool Rock, you from the East? You from East New York, like Buff?
Yeah, East New York. Yeah, we all from the same block.
Linden houses?
No, we live right down the block from Linden House. We can see it from our block.
Okay. Because I had my cousins was in Linden on Workman. They was in the building on Workman. Okay. I think it was 351, 361, something like that on Workman.
Yeah, we used to play football play those cats from the projects. They would come from different areas, and we was like big football players at the time. We had these dreams and aspirations of going pro, all this stuff, going to college, going pro.
Me too.
Work out. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? So,
me too, brother. Me too.
It was like once I got to high school, I thought I had this golden arm. And I'm like, yeah, I ain't gonna make it.
Did you play for Jeff?
I played. I wanted to play quarterback. They said I didn't have the height, so they wanted to put me at first they put me at fullback, then they put me on offensive line, then they put me at safety, and I said I'm not fast enough because I never developed speed. I always was into just throwing the football. So he was like, well, if you want to be on the team, you could be a rah-rah guy. So I took the jersey just to get the cheerleaders. Like, well, I picked the jersey just to get one of the cheerleaders. But so Buff joined because I joined the team. But then I told Buff I'm not going to stay on the team because you're not going to make me play. I'm not going to play quarterback. So he was like, yo, I'm out too. But they wanted Buff badly. They wanted Buff because they were like, yo, look, he's a big dude.
Was Mo Finkelstein? Was Mo Finkelstein the coach?
Yeah, Mo Finkelstein was the coach. Yeah. Mark played for Canarsie. Mark was a damn good running back.
Oh, he played?
Pretty good. Yeah, he played for Canarsie.
Did you know that
That
I
was
coached?
good.
Did you know that I coached at Canarsie for 9 years?
Really?
Yes, I coached at Canarsie from 2002 to 2010. Nine
Head coach?
seasons. No, I was the head JV coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Crazy.
How does Canarsie look now? Because back then, Canarsie was all Italian.
No, oh no, it's all black now.
It's all black now. Okay.
All black now. Yeah, that school. You're right. Back then, when
Yeah.
I was like in 8th grade, Cass was coming home telling stories about, yo, the white boys chasing everybody home
Oh,
with
yeah.
baseball bats and all that.
Oh yeah.
I actually rap about that on my album, The Fallen Season. I talk about getting sent all the way out to Sheepshead Bay because I went to Sheepshead, and how
Sheepshead, right?
yeah, the white boys was chasing black kids home chasing them to the bus stop and all that. That stuff was really going on, but they all moved out, and not Canarsie is
Wow.
Canarsie is mostly West Indian now.
Wow.
Yeah.
They would come out to Jeff to play Jeff, Orange Wave at that time, and they
Yeah, it
would
wasn't
be
that far.
quiet as a mouse. They would be quiet. They wouldn't say nothing. But if you go to the airfield, oh man,
Yeah.
there's on.
Yeah.
Especially Sheepshead Bay, you can't hear a peep out of them on the sidelines.
Right. Right. Because they knew where they were.
Right, exactly. The cheerleaders were quiet. I'm like, the cheerleaders can get into it. The Jeff cheerleaders really always fight the cheerleaders from other schools. Yeah, it was crazy back then.
Yeah, it was.
Cheerleaders wasn't cheerleaders, huh?
That shit is most definitely.
Yeah, I had dreams and aspirations, and that didn't work out too well. So I'm like,
Yo, Kool Rock Ski,
I retired at an early age.
Kool Rock Ski, what you guys doing today? You guys, you recording, like, you doing any recording yourself?
No, I got so many. I'm not even trying to sound egotistical like I'm in hot demand, but I do get a lot of people hitting me up and giving me tracks and say, you know, you kick a 16 or 24, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that stuff no more. I mean, you know, I love hip hop, you know, because it got me, it got my family out of the situation we were in, you know. But I think once Buff passed away, it kind of just, the music part of me just kind of just left me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It's like I just do the podcast now. Me and my boy got the podcast going on.
Oh, let's
I
talk
do
about that. Talk about that. Get people to get to it.
Well, it's the 360 University podcast. You know, we getting the YouTube channel up now. We got it on Spotify. You know, it's on a lot of different platforms. You know, iTunes, Anchor. It's everywhere. So we're just doing that now. But I know. But here's an interesting story. About maybe 3-4 weeks ago, about a month ago, Mark had got into some battle with some guy, called him out on on YouTube. And the guy made a diss song about Mark. He's one of those. He's trying to be a URL battle rapper, that whole smack thing or whatever. And he, for some odd reason, he called Mark out. So Mark did a answer song to it. So Mark hits me up and said, "Yo, just do a quick 16, just going at this guy." I'm like, dude, I'm not about to get into no damn battle. You crazy? Like, no, just give me a quick 16, man. I'm like, no way, I'm not getting involved with that stuff. But
Crazy.
we, you know, about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we did a song in the house back in our third album, I think it was.
In the house.
And, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And me and Mark talked about putting the song out, just revamping the lyrics a little bit, and putting the song out and doing a video, and putting some kids in the some young people in the video, because we tell a story within the song. And we talked about it for like 2 days. We was amped up about it. And then we just stopped talking about it. We just stopped calling one another. So it was like, that just went out the window real quick.
No follow through.
It seems
Right,
like
exactly.
it seems like once you did the Disorderlies movie, you guys just disappeared after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like.
I think everybody has their pinnacle in this music industry, in the entertainment industry. And I think once we did Disorderlies, that was like the pinnacle. And plus, the album, with the success of the Crushing album and the movie came out that same year, it was like you take it as far as you can go. You know, everybody could take this thing as far as it can go. I don't care how you can still be really popular, but you're not going to sell like you used to sell. And that's one thing I learned about the music industry. No matter, you could be popular out the ass, but your sales are not going to equal your popularity anymore. And that's just how it goes. I mean, Jay-Z could come up with a song right now. It probably won't do no more than 100,000 copies in the first week. And whereas 5-6 years ago, he could have did like damn near, 400,000 in 1 week. So everybody has their pinnacle of as far as they can climb. If you want to do it for the love of it and keep doing it, that's cool with me, But I just don't have that in me anymore to just go in the studio and just do that. I mean, every now and then, you get a buzz, but it goes away real quick. You know what I mean?
Yo, Ace, you ever think you reached your pinnacle?
No, because my story's not over. I got more to do, and I think you're probably just looking at it from just a music standpoint, but I feel like a documentary would be incomplete at this point because there's so much more that I want to do. After this musical, I have a screenplay idea. I have a TV show, a TV series idea, a couple of them actually. So it's just me taking my writing to the next level. These to me, like these albums, these concept albums with these stories, that was like the testing ground for me to take my writing to the next level, which is what's coming up. So I'm looking forward to bigger, brighter, greater accomplishments with my writing, regardless of it being if it's music or not. It's still writing for me. So I'm a writer at heart.
Because I remember I interviewed you on the radio a long time ago, and you said that when you did the Long Hot Summer, you said that was the last album you were going to do with a bunch of different producers and shit. You know what I'm saying? I remember you said that at that.
That was going to be my last album as a soloist. That was going to be my last album. I said from that point
forward,
you
would do it with one producer. Yeah, you were saying like.
Yeah, I said I'm just going to do special projects. So I did. That's when I came out with EMC. We did the group album with EMC. And then I did the album with Edo G, the A&E project. So I said, cool, I'll just do these kind of things, and then I don't have to have the pressure of trying to live up to Disposable Arts and a Long Hot Summer. I'll just do special projects where you're not even comparing. But then I did the Doom, the MA Doom, the MF Doom beats. I did that. To me, that was a special project. But
when you did that, did you talk to Doom about it? Did you just do it? Did you?
No, I wrote the whole album, recorded mostly all the songs, and then we had a show together at the Montreux Jazz Festival in France. And after the show, I went back to his hotel room and played him the whole album, minus like 2 songs. And it was at that point that I asked him, if he would want to jump on a song, and he was like, sure. So I waited a couple of months till I got the verse from him. And then that was the next special project. But that really turned out to be a solo record too, because it was kind of personal. It was about my mom's and all of that. So really that kind of counted as a solo record, I guess. And then we did more EMC. And then I dropped The Fallen Season, which was 2016. And that's me kind of like telling more of my story.
All right. And then you did the Brooklyn.
Now the record with Marco. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yo, what up, Stress? What up, Rocko? What up, Mike Meehan? This is Doc Spliph. Pleasure to meet y'all, by the way. I had a quick question. How did we were talking about battling earlier and all that. How did the Boogeyman thing come about?
The whole beef, the whole problem with him?
Yeah.
So I did, before I dropped Disposable, I was doing these one-off records, just trying to test the water and kind of see if I had it in me to do another, album. And one of the songs that I did was a song called Ghetto Like.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like just a 12-inch that I released through Fat Beats. And I guess he had to deal with Fat Beats too. And he did a song called Ghetto Love that I had never heard his song, but apparently he's from the same neighborhood or close to the same neighborhood. And he thought that I was basically stole his idea. And so he made a song about me called Just You Wait. He did a whole song about me, like 2 verses about me. Just a whole bunch of different diss lines.
Wow.
And so when I was already in the midst of working on Disposable Arts. And so I recorded my response to him, which was acknowledged. And, the rest is history, as they say.
That was a rep. You got a Mighty Might too. You had problems with the Mighty Might, High and Mighty.
I mean, it wasn't really a problem with them. Something happened at a show, and they brought up this guy Cage.
Yeah.
They brought him on stage, and he was performing with them, I guess, and he said a line in his rhyme that had my name in it. I wasn't there, so people that were there, my peoples that were there, came back home, and they was like, "Yo, these dudes High and Mighty." They were saying High and Mighty because he was on stage with them, but they didn't really know if he was. They thought he was part of the group. So it's like, I don't know. He said your name sounded like a diss, and so I was already in a mood already from the Boogeyman thing. It was some other little slick stuff that was said by this dude. Apathy had said some slick stuff on a freestyle on a radio station. So I was like, oh, it's open season on Ace right now. Dudes are just coming left and right at me. So let me just let loose on some dudes. I didn't say anything about the Apathy dude because it was like one little line. He probably out of the two of them, he was the least of a violation. So I said what I said about High and Mighty, but it turned out it really wasn't even High and Mighty. It was the dude Cage, and he came on YouTube or something and explained the whole thing, and he actually said the rhyme over to be clear what he said. And what he said wasn't a diss. It just was. He said some kind of metaphor with my name, but the people that were there thought it was a diss, and they brought it back to me. So I actually diss High and Mighty for no reason on the song.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
They're gonna come back to you.
War beef start.
Legendary status, veteran and shit. Like, yo, that shit.
Sometimes the straight bullets hit people that it wasn't meant for.
I guess a just in case kind of like just in case.
Yeah, don't say my name and there was no problem.
Yeah. Still
Come
to
and
this
talk to
day
you.
though. Still to this day. Man, yeah, I heard of the Boogeyman when I was a youth scary. Then I found out that he was as fake as a tooth fairy. As soon as I heard that shit, I was like, yo, they let this man off the leash. I was man.
I mean, I've always thought that. I mean, you heard this a whole bunch of times that Eminem kind of got the Ace kind of style flow and shit. You know what I mean? I always thought that, but I mean, I know you probably heard it a whole bunch of times, and I also saw what we talked about when I interviewed before one time when he mentioned your name when he said the list on the stage and shit, and I was like, okay, he said Masta Ace's name. That's what's up. Like,
he said my name with a lot of other people too.
Yeah, I think he might have mentioned you, or did
I think you're highly underestimated. Like out there, like people, they don't put you like where you should be with these other people. I never get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
That's not for me to worry about.
Yeah.
But that's what I think that keeps you who you are. That's why you stay dope. That's what I think. That's for real. Like, yo, you just like you just said, you don't pay attention to that shit. You got your vision, and you just keep moving. We're not giving a fuck what anything's going on between it, and that's dope. That's fucking dope.
Well, you got your hip hop enthusiasts out there. Sorry to cut you off. And then you got your people who are just overnight hip hop historians. So they're not going to mention a cat like a Masta Ace because they don't know. They just go on what's on the surface. You know what I mean? So that's why people get passed by like him. You know, they just put out names like Lil Wayne or something. There's no disrespect to Lil Wayne. It's just that's all they know, and they know things on the surface. You tell them a true lyricist like a Masta Ace, it's like freaking owls. Like who? You know, who's that? Well, that's why they got YouTube, you dumbass. You gotta look at him. And he's out there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you got several times in hip hop since you first came out where you popped in and here comes this joint and here comes this joint, here comes this joint. You like continuously. It's not like you could have been gone, but you come back. When the Disposable Arts came back, you was like, you just showed motherfuckers like here. And you gave it to them and they're like, oh shit. I didn't know Ace was
Disposable Arts was my reset, my career reset. That I will always credit that album as being my most important album. Because My career up to Disposable Arts was only about 7 years. And my career since Disposable Arts has been 20.
You got the old and new. You got the older heads, and you got the new heads. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah.
and then you can go to a concert and play them all. You know what I'm saying? You got the whole audience of and straight hip hop. You know what I mean? It's always straight hip hop. Like it's crazy. Like that shit is crazy.
Yeah, Disposable Arts.
And also I gotta speak to Kool Rock Ski, man. The Fat Boys was a big inspiration to the people too, man. Period, man. You guys showing that, he's like, we the Fat Boys. Who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? Like we don't give a fuck what you think. You know what I mean? That's like an expression to the people, to make them. If you can't feel comfortable in your own skin, we're showing you that we can and shit. You know what I mean? Like that hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm surprised you've been changing your name from Disco 3 to the Fat Boys.
Well, yeah, I was getting ready to say it was. I think because the success of the single Fat Boys, our manager at the time, he just went crazy and just figured we need to change our name from Disco. He said the name Disco 3 wasn't marketable, and there was a group by the name of the Disco 4, so we would have had a problem down the line with them had we kept that name. Which I'm like, well, we're not Disco 4, we're Disco 3. They're Disco 4. And and all kinds of things he was making up for us to change the name because he wanted to market the name Fat Boys more than the name Disco 3. So we had this big name changing party, and we changed it from Disco 3 to Fat Boys. I think it was at Roseland, and yeah, that's how that name just stuck because a lot of people was asking for the group that made the song Fat Boys. They wasn't calling us Fat Boys; they were still calling us Disco 3. So sometimes we would go to different cities and we look on the marquee name, it would be like Disco 3 featuring Fat Boys. I'm like, whoa, there's a group called Fat Boys that we don't know about. You know what I'm saying? So it was just confusing. So after a while, they just changed the name.
So was the movies depicting you correctly? Was you the more standoffish one, like, yo, man, I don't believe this is gonna happen type? Was that?
Yeah, I was more of the it wasn't like I didn't have faith in us. It was more like we didn't come here to be successful. We came here just to get the DJ equipment and just bounce and make money doing that. Just get a job and DJ and do block parties on the weekend kind of thing. And Buff was 50-50 with it in real life. Buff was more like, yo, I'm with D, but at the same time, yo, if we can get a record deal, that'd be crazy. And we could buy more equipment if we sell records. That's what Mark was more like, now I want to be a star. You know what I'm saying? So we all had different kind of ways of approaching our success or whatever,
So you said the Crush Groove movie was mostly correct with you guys. So you guys really did try to go in with IDs with tall, skinny basketball players.
No, that was just, how Hollywood is. They're going to change things up.
I had to say that shit. I remember that.
And here's the thing about Crush Groove. We weren't supposed to be in the movie that long. We was only supposed to be in there for maybe a couple of scenes. What happened was Warner Brothers was getting the dailies every day. They would shoot the movie and send it back to Warner Brothers to see what they think about it. Or at the end of the week, they would send it to Warner Brothers back in Hollywood. And Warner Brothers was telling the director, we need more of those guys, those 3 guys, because they're bringing more of a humor to the movie. One thing about putting out a movie like Crush Groove or Beat Street, you needed some kind of balance to it. You didn't want to scare away the masses because if rap is so fierce and in your face and it's all serious, a lot of people are going to turn their backs on it. Like, that's too serious for me. So you need like an escape from that. You need like that's why they have the R&B hip hop. They got the funny kind of rap. They got Biz Markie. They got us. They got guys who could bring the humor into it. So I think once they saw that, it was like, okay, let's put more of them in it because Run DMC was just too damn serious, all the time. Everything was rah, 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 and needed some kind of comic relief to it. So that's why we shined more in the movie. They gave us more parts like every day. And the guy who shot the movie, Crush Groove and Disorderlies, he shot, he directed rather, what do you call it? Coolie High and Car Wash. And This Way Is Up, Michael Schultz.
So you didn't think about ever like pursuing your acting career after that?
I I did. I did for a little while. I did. I even wrote. I wrote a couple of, you know, little stuff here and there. Me and my boy back in Baltimore. We wrote something called Epidemic. It was talking about the whole drug era from 1984 to 1991, and we was gonna make it like this big epic, write a big epic movie rather. And we was thinking about doing that, and we're still writing it, by the way. Still doing that. But as far as getting in front of the camera and acting, nah, I never really thought about it too much.
Ace, you never thought about acting?
I really think I'm more of a on the other side of the camera kind of guy. And the reason I say that is because I'm a writer at heart, number one, but more importantly, I really respect the craft of acting. And when I see high level acting,
right,
when I see it, I say, I can't do that.
Right.
And I don't want to do it unless I can do that. And that looks really, really hard.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I couldn't see myself in the scene opposite Denzel Washington, and he's just going dancing circles around me, and I'm like, I don't know, I can't improvise like that. I'm saying so.
I'll be like, can I do it again? Can I do it again?
Oh yeah, one more. Ace, the one song that I heard, and I heard, I guess it came out on a soundtrack or something, or a compilation album, was when Splash came out. How did that whole song? That sounds like one of my favorite songs for me. That Splash shit.
Really?
Yeah, yo,
that's
beat,
an interesting choice.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, and I heard it, and I was like, yo, it took me forever to find it, because when I started getting on the radio, when I was on the radio, I said, I gotta find this songs. I want to play this song. When I first heard it, my man, it was like a cassette my man had, and it had De La Soul, a whole bunch of different people on it.
Yeah.
And
I just saw that. I have the. It was like a compilation or something. It's on I forget what. I literally just saw it because I was cleaning out my garage and I was straightening up my records, and but that was a J Love song.
J Love made that beat. The mixtape J Love.
I guess he made the beat.
Shit. Oh damn!
I mean, he brought the beat to the table. I can't say I didn't see him make it, but he brought the beat to the table.
That song was crazy. Yeah. Splash.
That was that was one of those testing ground. I was still testing the water. 99, right in there.
That song right there, that was one of them hidden gem songs of yours and shit. That's what yo, that joint, yo, because you hear it, and everybody who ever played it to, like, yo, this shit is dope. I'm like, yeah, right? Because when I first heard it, I was like, who is that? Ace? And he's like, yeah. I remember my cousin was playing it on his tape, and I fucking kind of took his tape for a little while, and he saw it in my car. So I was like, yo, I would just keep playing, knowing you could rewind and play the song again. I'd play it, and then, people talk, the music will keep going, but I'd always go back to that song on that cassette. That song's crazy. And J Love, to say he made the beat, that's crazy. I never heard nothing else he did before. That's
Yeah, I was trying to figure out if I still had the chops to do records. And so those are the records that I did around there. I did that, I did NY Confidential, joint Brooklyn Blocks with Buckshot. I was just trying to test the water and see where I was.
all right.
So where are you now, Ace, with everything that's going on in the world, and what is your topics like? What is your concepts like? You know what I mean? When you're writing a song right now, what are you about to touch base on?
I mean, anything I'm writing right now is either feature work for other artists that reach out to me for a verse, or I'm writing for the musical. So it's very topical. I'm writing songs that are based on the scenes and the character of what's happening in the music. Those are the things I'm focused on writing wise right now. But once I start really digging into these Marco Polo beats, I'll let you know where I'm at with it.
Okay. I got one more question for you, Ace, and one more question for you. Then I know you guys gotta get to doing what you were doing.
It's TV night, me and my wife.
All right. What's your top 5 favorite rappers? Period. Like, I would like to know, not to be Brooklyn, just your top 5 favorite rappers, like, period, of your lifeline that made at Masta Ace.
Well, I can't say top 5. What I will give you is top 5 influences.
All right, yeah.
Top 5 guys that made me want to be a better MC, or like that, right? So, no particular order. LL, Kane, Rakim, Slick Rick, and I'd say KRS-One.
Oh shit.
Boy, damn,
I feel like I'm a mixture of those five.
Well, that's dope. No, that's dope. Kool Rock,
That's
you got five. You got you. No, and you was the first one rapping in Fat Boys, right? Right or wrong?
Yeah, well, kind of like the first one. I took raps from other songs and just incorporated, wrote my own song rhymes into them. And Mark just thought that was crazy because I was listening to rap like that. Mark was listening more to disco music. So, but mine it's more like Grandmaster Caz and Melly Mel, Prince Whip, Kumo D. And then, going to the 80s, I would throw in like a Big Daddy Kane,
All right.
And that's no particular order,
All right. I want to say thank you, brothers, for coming in. I appreciate you guys took your time. I mean, I'm going to stop the recording. I know Ace, you'll go watch your movie now. I understand that. I appreciate that you took the time to do this, though, for that. You know what I mean? For real. And I know where you're at. Kool Rock, you say you're in Seattle, so you're 3 hours.
I'm in Seattle, yeah, man.
Wow.
It
Nice
don't
and
look
cool out
so
there,
dark out there. I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy. It always look like it's raining in Seattle. So
Yeah, it's cool right now. It's like in the 60s out there.
Ace, though, I do see the joints on the wall, though, man. You see the plaques up there. That's dope, man. What was your biggest album that got the most numbers?
Probably Sitting on Chrome.
It had it. Yeah.
That's my shit.
I got both of those two on vinyl. You sent me Disposable Arts and Long Hot Summer in the mail a long time ago and shit. So I got to take a look around joint too. But yeah, I'll let you in Saturday Night joint. And I got the Fat Boys joints, of course. My Fat Boys first album was Warped. I'm pissed and shit. You know what I mean? Because I left it in the sun when I was a kid and shit and fucking my car on the top.
Right.
and somebody probably took mine. So
No, but
well, don't feel bad. I can't even find my gold and platinum records, so I don't know where the hell they are now. I have no idea where those things are at.
I appreciate you guys. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to stop recording this, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you for taking your time to do this.
All right, man. Thanks for having us.
appreciate your time.